morning and welcome to 1 Million Cups Columbus. We appreciate everybody tuning in on this beautiful Wednesday morning. We're, I think, at least starting to get a taste of spring, right? So hopefully this isn't one of those spring teases. Here in Columbus, Ohio, it's sunny. It's a little bit warm, but we are here. We've almost been exactly 1 year since we went virtual in a world that we never knew kind of existed, right? So, but we're happy to keep coming to you every Wednesday morning with amazing entrepreneurs sharing their story, talking about what they're doing, what they're building, and how they're doing it. And today is no exception. So we'll get to talk with an awesome entrepreneur that's actually tuning in from out of state. The one of the benefits of the virtual world here. So, and we actually connected online, and we're able to stand up and have a company discussed and built around that. So, yeah. So before we get started, we always like to go around the room and kind of talk a little bit about who's in attendance here live on the Zoom. And if you wish to join us, you can simply go to columbus.com and get the Zoom link and join us live to have Q&A with the entrepreneur right here. So let's go ahead and go around the Zoom room. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and where you're tuning in from.
Yeah, we'll just go down the list. Thanks, Steve. Just a reminder, please keep muted while we're going through this so we can make sure everyone can hear clearly. So, but as you know, as I mentioned your name, please pop off mute and introduce yourself. So we'll start with Jason Nami. And I caught him at the wrong moment.
No, good job. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Jason Nami. I am the owner of LifeSys. I am an IT consultant. I provide network connections, internet connections, and I help small businesses get started.
Awesome. Glad to see you again.
Thank you. I'm also located here in Columbus, Ohio.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Brian Mashney.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm a 3L at the Moritz College of Law at Ohio State with the Entrepreneurial Business Law Clinic, where we work with startups. So I was interested in attending this event, and I'm here in Columbus.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. All right, Gary Bauer. And you're on mute, sorry.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Hey, go ahead.
No? You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, good morning.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe we should skip over to
business coach. Part of...
Hey, Gary, I think you've got some internet connection issues, perhaps. Kind of in and out a little bit.
But Gary is joining us from Cleveland. They've been with us for a year. So along with Gary, we've got Andrew Cohn.
Yes, I'm Andrew Cohn. I'm in Cleveland. I'm a retired lawyer. I volunteer with Legal Aid Society and also with a group called J Street, a liberal Jewish organization. And I'm also interested in startup community in Ohio.
Awesome. Good to see you again. Eric Olson.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I am a classmate of Brian's. Actually, I'm a 3L student at Moritz as well, part of the Entrepreneurial Business Law Clinic, and interested in entrepreneurial law generally. So excited to be here today.
Glad you're here. So just a quick reminder for everyone, the EBLC is a great partner of ours, very knowledgeable individuals, and they provide great services for entrepreneurs. Often at no cost. So they have an application program. If you're interested, reach out to one of them.
Yeah, that's something that we can happily put drop a link to our website in the chat. But yeah, that's spot on, Mark. So thanks for the shout out.
Absolutely, please do. Let's see, Lolo Smith.
She might be on the road, Mark.
Oh, okay.
Wait, nope, she just came off from mute. There we go.
Sorry, I am on the road, but I am Lolo. I'm super interested in startups, heavily in the startup and small business ecosystem. I am also a partner at Urban Accelerator X, and I'm really excited about the presentation today. So, yes.
Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you on video very soon.
Yeah, and don't look at the screen.
Let's see, Stacy Crawford.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Stacy Crawford. I'm one of the founding members of the chapter that's in the South Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation. So special shout out, and just happy to be here. Happy to listen to the presentation. Thank you for the invite.
I'm glad you're here. So Steve will get into 1 Million Cups a little bit more, but it is completely organizer, volunteer led. So I'm one of the organizers. I'm Mark Doyle. I'm the CTO of Honest Jobs. We help people with criminal records find employment fast. I've been an organizer with 1MC since 2018. It was one of the first things I looked for when I moved up to Columbus in the summer that year. Steve had just started it, so I was super happy that it had launched. I've been attending it for years, presented, and now have the opportunity to be an organizer. So it's just an awesome organization, and I'm glad you're here with us this morning, and hope you will continue to join us every week, so we can share stories and help out entrepreneurs in our community. With that, I'll turn it over to George.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, so Mark and I are kind of like, I don't know, I have to figure out the actual term for it. It's not like kindred spirits, maybe like twin spirits, something like that. We both migrated to Columbus, Ohio in the middle of 2018. And like Mark, I was also looking for the nearest 1MC chapter when I was coming through. I was a previous presenter for a couple of years. I actually came from Alaska. Mark, I don't know if you might have mentioned we came from Texas. So we both came, and I'm going to wear this one out. Came from the two largest states in the country. And we had a pretty similar journey, excuse me, along the path. We both became organizers in December of 18, and it's been an amazing run. We're really passionate about the platform and what it's done for us in our professional entrepreneurial journey. And we're really excited to be able to help other folks get their message out and tell their story about their entrepreneurial journey. So right now, I'm actually running the Urban Accelerator X. Well, not running, I'm one of the partners of the Urban Accelerator X. And basically, we're just the entrepreneur support organization that is focused on helping people of color and women in the urban community here in Columbus, Ohio and surrounding area. And that's pretty much what we do. But the history of 1MC is kind of cool, kind of jazzy, and Steve's going to dig into that a little bit before we get on to our presenter for today. But I just wanted to give a shout out and thank everyone for coming out, all of our familiar faces and our new friends. Thanks so much, and look forward to chatting with you guys soon.
All right. Well, thank you, Mark and George, for sharing the stories. As Mark alluded to, this is a volunteer-led organization, but we are just one of many of these across the country. So 1 Million Cups is an ecosystem in itself, both locally here in Columbus, Ohio, since 2018, when we brought it to the great capital city here in Ohio, but all across the country. There's 1 Million Cups chapters, and the whole premise behind this started with a man back in 1966. Ewing Marion Kaufman left a $2 billion endowment in 1966 to form what is known as the Kaufman Foundation. So the Kaufman Foundation for years has been involved with entrepreneurship, helping entrepreneurs, providing resources, providing grants, providing classes and education on what it takes to build a business, to scale a business, to exit a business. And so we've seen the Kaufman Foundation out there doing studies. You see a lot of it with universities. And then in 2012, they simply started having breakfast at the headquarters in Kansas City, Missouri. And they called it 1 Million Cups because when entrepreneurs get together over cups of coffee, magic happens, right? So when you share stories, when you share experiences, all of the industry specific and exact details of what the idea is kind of goes out the window, because regardless of idea, regardless of industry, the entrepreneurial journey is actually quite similar. across all spectrums, right? And so when you get people together talking about those, sharing the stories, you realize that the lonely journey of entrepreneurship isn't as lonely as you thought. It's a lot about getting the right resources, the right tools, and the right people together to share those. And that's what 1MC is all about. So it's kind of the experiment that escaped the lab and has spread across the country with local chapters popping up all over in every city. So there's literally, if you go on and search 1 Million Cups, if you go to 1millioncups.com, you'll see all the chapters across the country. And you can tune in if you're viewing this locally. If you found us in Columbus, Ohio, guess what? There's stuff out in Los Angeles. There's stuff in Denver, Colorado. There's stuff down in Florida. There's stuff in Tennessee. Almost every state in the union has a 1MC that you can tune into. And right now, guess what? It's all virtual. So it's great to be able to share this platform and discuss. And I mean, it's about assembly. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a business owner. You don't have to have a grand idea. Just hearing stories from local entrepreneurs, from people that are building things, is where the magic happens here virtually with us with 1 Million Cups Columbus. So since 2018, we've been doing it here in Columbus, Ohio. But again, part of a broader 1MC nation, if you will. And yeah, excited to share today's story, because we actually get a full perspective of what it takes from idea conception. And Kevin, in his journey, is in that point where he's now putting the company together around it. So we've had everybody on here, from the people that are running multi-million-dollar businesses to the people that have a theory or an idea or something that they want to test. And that's really the beauty of the 1MC platform, is we can cover all spectrums of the entrepreneurial journey. So, and hopefully provide value to you guys as the viewers, that give you inspiration, maybe some spark of ideas, and also show you, some of the inside of, what it takes and how we can put together the tools and resources necessary to make it happen, right? Because I don't think there's anybody out there. The term self-made really doesn't exist, right? So because everybody has help, everybody has mentors, everybody has resources that they find. There's no one that's truly self-made in the fact that they do everything alone, right? It does take inspiration, ideas, resources, and tools from outside one's person's individual head. So today we are joined by Kevin Chase. Kevin is out of Colorado. Kevin and I connected actually over the internet. He was out there looking for some help with just getting some ideas of how to get started and where to go. He's come up with a solution that, as most entrepreneurs do, they find solutions in their industry, or they find problems in their industry, and then look to fill that with a solution. So Kevin is no different. So Kevin, welcome to the 1 Million Cups platform here and the 1MC stage in Columbus, Ohio. Go ahead and take it away and tell us about what you are building.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you for your time. Obviously, I know everybody's busy, but it's an absolute pleasure to be out here. So obviously, my name is Kevin Chase, owner and inventor of the Perfect Angle Wrench. And this is something that's a long needed necessity for not only people that do it your home yourself projects, but mechanics in general. And it's kind of a one-off, something that's never really been done before. So I'm really excited to share it with you. I hope you guys like it as well. Can you see my screen okay? All right, so then just a little bit about, oh, there we go. There we go. Just a little bit about me. I'm a happily married man, blessed with 2 great boys. Just depends on what day it is, if they're gonna be great or not. I've been in the field for over 19 years now, and I've started from the bottom, doing oil changes, tires, starters, alternators, working my way up to engines, rebuilds, and transmissions, to where I am now, heavy equipment mechanic / manager at a well-known construction company. I've got experience from working on pretty much everything, you name it, I've put my hands on it. Cars, trucks, semis, to large equipment, which is my pretty much specialty areas, now the larger equipment. And as that goes, you'll see my issues as it comes. So in the industry over the years, I found a lot of issues. And one of the biggest issues is that the area for working on things is getting tighter and tighter, more compact. They're seeing how much they can stuff into one certain area. And it's not getting easier. It's more of a pain in the butt than anything else. And be honest with you, manufacturers don't care about the ease of repair. They don't care about who's doing it or what they just want it out there. They want it running, and the little guy can figure out the rest. And that's where we come in. We're the little guy. And so one of the biggest issues I've found is with wrenches. You can never get the right wrench with the right orientation, whether it be a moon wrench, an S wrench, an offset wrench, one-offs. It doesn't always have the right angle. It's never what you need. You always need more, you need less. It's just never perfect. And that's a lot of money to buy all these sets of wrenches and for it still not to be right. And I mean, face it, tools, like I said, are really expensive. So to buy all the different sets, it's just not feasible. So in turn, you end up doing this, grabbing the torch out, heating your wrench up, bending it to the direction that you need. I know almost every mechanic that I know has at least 6 to 7 of these inside their toolbox. And it's great for the job doing, but the problem is after that, you have a bent wrench. So now you have to replace the wrench that you just spent $50 on to buy a new one, to put it back in your specialty set and go forward. I mean, it's just a lot of money out of pocket. It's a lot of money out the window. That there just has to be a better way, right? There has to be something else out there. And that's where my idea, and I started thinking. So like I said, I knew there was a better way. I knew there was something that I could do about it. There was more an issue that had to be solved. So as you see on the screen, I tried many different designs, many, trial and errors, 2 broken 3D printers. I overheated the first one, the second one melted the heating pad, the head went to crap. Not saying I'm the best at it, but I gave her hell. But it's a long time away. I finally found out the design that was going to work, and just the one wrench that can replace the need for these multiple sets, right? The need for all these specialty wrenches, and this can do much more. And that's what the great part about this wrench is. And it's just, I give you the perfect angle wrench. It's one wrench for every pinch. No more spending $1,000 on wrench sets that still don't do the job and you have to modify anyhow. This gives you over 400 locking positions with a push of a button and spring return. You can easily operate these with one hand. If you're in the tight area, you can't adjust it with 2 hands. You're in a tight area, you press the button, you can move it with a finger, it locks back into place. It's extremely handy. These sets are going to come in both metric and standard. Larger sizes are available. Metric's going to go from 10 millimeter to 27, and the standard set's going to go to 3/8 to 1 inch. Just pretty much a general idea for everybody to have. Very useful. So far, I mean, I filed for my provisional patent last year, and my utility patent as of now is submitted. Right now, I'm really looking for that next area that I need to move for, the next step. Get in contact with a manufacturing company, get these tools in the hands of the workers, let them use these tools and, get some feedback. So what they like, what they don't like, if there's anything I need to change. I could tell you from the one that I do have, it is an absolute lifesaver, and everybody I've showed so far loves it. Speaking with Steve, there's a couple potential partnerships out there from some technology from the military that really could enhance this thing to the next level. And I know it's kind of hard to believe, but it could take this thing above and beyond, just being a standard, wrench or standard tool. It can be extremely useful at that point for everybody. And after we get all that going, it's more of, I want to set up production and marketing and distribution plan. As Steve said, I'm pretty much new to this. I'm trying to build the company from the start to finish and keep going forward. And it's a learning step. Let me tell you that much. Every step of the way, there's something new that I didn't anticipate. And there's my contact information. Again, I'm Kevin Chase, the owner of the Perfect Angle Wrench, and my email is up there. And that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. I know it's not a lot and I might have rushed through it because of my nerves, but I'm sorry about that.
Oh, good. No, that's great, Kevin. I mean, that's the entrepreneurial journey in a nutshell, right? So, as we said, a lot of entrepreneurs start by finding a problem in an industry that they are in, right? That they have domain expertise in, see something, and then I think there's probably way more people that have ideas and a lot less people that execute on them. So kudos to, executing. I mean, going through, finding out what it takes to get a patent, actually, completing that process. I mean, that's an accomplishment in itself. But, you mentioned that, there's new things that after every turn, and I think you're going to continue to find that. I mean, even I've talked to entrepreneurs that are, already exited from companies and then starting their second one, and they're like, man, I'm learning stuff the second time around that I didn't even find out the first time. So, I think that's not that out of the ordinary, and it's okay. We always say, get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? As entrepreneurs. So that's when you really experience the growth. So I'm curious, the problem that you see in the market and everything. I mean, you alluded to that, things are getting tighter, manufacturers are changing things. They don't really care about the repairability of machines or whatnot. I mean, is this something that is encountered daily? Or is this like once a week? What do you see as, being a shop manager?
Pretty much every day. This is something, there's always something that you can't get to. I mean, you have your onesie twosies that are, simple, but most of the time it's pretty in-depth, right? You have to figure something out. You have to have one of these specialty tools, or that's why a lot of the manufacturers say take it to their dealership, take it to just who they need to be, because they have these special tools. And this is kind of working around that aspect of things. And it's pretty much an everyday need for you have to get into a tight area. And if you're in this field, absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the solution that you came up with, I mean, pretty robust. I mean, you've got, gear in there to lock it in place. I know we've looked at kind of the design element. I mean, how did you even embark on, I mean, burning through two 3D printers? I mean, I know that's a struggle, but I mean, putting that conceptually together, not only just thinking about it, but then executing on it. Because I think that's a lot that entrepreneurs or people that, have good ideas, getting it out into reality, right? Out of the brain and onto something. I mean, not only did, you more than draw it up on CAD and everything. I mean, you actually made something and then got patented. So, I mean, again, accomplishment in itself, but I mean, what's your, thinking behind it? I mean, is it, how long did it take? And just kind of talk about the journey there of that launch of the prototype, if you will.
So I've been working on this for about 4 years. And it all started with sitting at my kitchen table and my wife looking at me like I'm crazy, tracing a wrench on a piece of paper, trying to figure out which direction and how I can make things work. And looking at the different options and trying to figure out what would hold it together, what would not hold it together. Like I said, I worked at a construction company, so there's people here with CAD. So I downloaded Fusion 360, started messing around with that. Then I started messing around with, the gear orientation. And then the first set, it was actually just two pieces pancaked together with the gear inside there, but you wouldn't have the side to side. So that wasn't working. And I mean, and the 3D printers, let me tell you, when they burn up in your house, the smell of plastic, the wife is not happy whatsoever. But she bared with me. She knew I was pretty determined, and that's kind of who I am. Is if I got an idea, I'm going to stick to it. And I got tired of having to buy so many wrenches, man, honestly, because it's expensive to go through, this many tool sets and still have issues, right? There had to be a better way, and that was my focus. So after I made the first one, then the second one, and started playing around with the third and fourth one, and kind of progressed. So there's probably 10 total different renditions, I should say, that I went from, and I finally came on the version that will be perfect. It's user friendly. It's ideal for the everyday user. It's ideal for the pro user, right? It's something that you could pick up change to whatever you need. And that was my main goal, is just to make it as user friendly and honestly stupid proof as possible, right? I didn't want to overcomplicate the wrench in itself. And that was my main goal.
So I'm curious, so you did this, you create a solution, to a problem. When did this become something that you're like, there's something here more than just, me or just my buddies in a shop. This could actually be a product, whether you go out and do a license play or whether you can actually build a company around, a wrench. I mean, I think that's a lot of times, I mean, people, it's like, oh, that's a feature, or oh, that's a smaller piece. But I mean, now your mindset, I mean, I think is kind of like, okay, this can actually be a company and be the first product of many, or at least a widespread, set that is utilized and can be scaled to the masses. So was there a shift in mindset there, or just what's the journey like there?
Well, at first, everybody thought I was absolutely crazy. They didn't realize, what are you doing? That's not going to work. And then as I progressed and as they see, and I have a lot of mechanic friends. My brother actually works for the engineering department for Volvo trucks. So I spoke with them and I showed them this, that, and they're really intrigued, and that's where it sparked. And I was like, well, I think I could keep going with this. And as I showed it to the mechanic friends, and as I showed it to different people in the field, this reaction from everyone was pretty much identical. This, holy cow, man, you've really got an idea. And that would save us a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of headache from manufacturing, right? Or modifying your own wrench. It's just a lifesaver. And there's a lot of people that say, when is it coming out? When's it going to be here? And it's a process. That's all I can tell everybody else. It's a slow walking process. And that's kind of how it started, is, from the kitchen table and showing everybody different renditions, and then showing everybody the actual wrench as it came through. And then till I got this one made, and it was, it more blew up. Everybody's eyes lit up of, holy cow, this is something, you got some on your hands. It's a real deal here.
And I guess, so to set the stage a little bit, so Kevin and I had kind of met, as I mentioned, online. He had posted in a group that we're both, part of out on Facebook world, and was just kind of had some pictures there and looking for help. And myself being up at the Delaware Entrepreneurship Center, founder and CEO at our own startup and scaling that. But my role at the Entrepreneurship Center is also to kind of help different people. And so we've set up a program around primarily the military, utilizing the AFWorks program out there, and taking solutions through some non-dilutive capital that have a mission fit for mainly Air Force. So with the U.S. Air Force, but then the wider spread DoD, but not only for military but for non-military, how you commercialize outside that. And so the solution here, while is basically built from the shop up, if you will, does have a wider spread market out there, and showing those steps of how somebody can go from just a solution for their industry or for their peers to something that's larger. That's kind of what the whole journey of entrepreneurship entangles in. So Kevin, I'm curious, after discussing those things and seeing the different mindset of marketing, to a larger both a military market and a non-military market in a different scope, I think, than what you and I had originally when we first talked had in mind. Just curious what kind of perspective you have now on it compared to a month ago when we first chatted.
Honestly, man, sky's the limit. That's kind of where my mind's at, is the opportunity and the usefulness of everything. Because you go from the average day plumber to, like you said, to the military. I mean, there's the range of people that could utilize this is unstoppable, really. And that's kind of where my direction is. And I'm on the mindset of, I want to get it into the person of the hands that need it the most, right? The people that need to use it, that have this need. And that is my direction.
All right. So, well, we can get into the hows, if you will. So some of these distribution strategies and metrics and stuff. But I want to open it up. We got a lot of people on the line here today, and some people out in Facebook world. So does anybody have questions to ask of Kevin about his story, about the journey, or just in general?
Yeah, so I have a question. Do you actually have a prototype that you can show us?
I actually do. I brought it today. So I even have it apart so you could see kind of the gist of it. I mean, it's a simple, just a simple gear on the inside. And then so the one side is still together, and it's pretty simple. You press and it locks into place whichever direction that you need. Then it's obviously this one I have it apart so you can see the simplicity of it. Prototype works. I've used it actually. This is a 3D printed prototype, and I've used it. It's a lifesaver. This in particular one is 13/16, which is a lot of hydraulic fittings, and it's beyond useful is all I could say. This thing, even for being a 3D printed version, is amazing.
What about the technology? I mean, I know almost nothing about this. I do have, I don't do anything with cars, but I do have a toolbox with lots of different wrenches. I don't know why, but they're all solid state. So this has gears or something. How do you how do you make sure that it's going to hold up to the needs?
So the general concept was more or less around, just say your ratchet, your typical ratchet, right? It's a gear, it's held in place by a gear. There's a pivot inside that will let it rotate around when you're swinging the opposite direction. This has the general concept, but this has more gear surface area than a ratchet. So it's stronger than your normal ratchet. It's going to be stronger than your average gear wrench. It's spring pressure that locks it back into place. So like I said, if you so just a quick show. I mean, so if you push the button, it locks into place automatically. There's nothing you can do, and it locks into place, right? So that's the direction that it goes. And then once it's there, it's the gears that lock. I don't know if you could really see, but the gears that are in here is what locks into place to secure it and helps it from going anywhere.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, where you been all my life, man? I could have used that thing years and years and years ago. Holy cow. That's amazing. I mean, I've got so many questions, but let me dial it back to once you realized you had something, like, what did you use for resources to determine, okay, I need to patent this thing, and okay, now I need to look into manufacturing. What did that part of the journey look like? I'm sure you're still in it, but since it's still fresh, once you know how it is, you do a thing that you do once and it's so long ago, you kind of forget all the pain that came with it. So since it's still relatively fresh for you, I just wanted to I to share that with the audience.
A lot of research, a lot of processes. There's a lot of companies out there that I found, like Invent Help and places like that, you pay them to do everything, or you pay them, they kind of take your idea and they take a portion, right? And to me, that just didn't really seem right. If there's something I can do to make the process go easier, it's the direction I went to. So I looked up attorneys, I looked up, the process of filing with the U.S. Patent Office, the provisional steps, and then the utility patent steps. It was just a lot of research, a lot of sitting down at the computer, a lot of the wife asking me what the hell I'm doing. And I'm just trying to figure things out. And she, luckily I had a strong backbone behind me, support system. That's one of the key things that's kept pushing me.
Awesome, man. Well, I'll let everybody else speak, but I just want to say, hell of a presentation. Thank you so much. And you are like the epitome of the entrepreneurial journey, man. I'm so glad you're here today.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
So I put this in chat. I just want to ask you about distribution. I mean, how do you envision building this up? Are you going to take like a distribution straight to industry professionals, like Snap-on Tools or something like that, or do you want to take the as seen on TV approach and go direct to consumer?
So Snap-on is actually was interested in this tool. They I showed it to them. I brought it to their attention. They were in the necessary. They'll give you $3,000, take your tool, your patent, and everything else, and you're out of it. It kind of just left you. So they were actually interested in the tool, buying it just completely from me. And I know there's other routes like direct to consumers, a Gear Inch and stuff like that for Apex tools that you can go that direction. But so there's a lot of options. I haven't really explored every single one yet. I really want to get the manufacturing, get it out first, and help the distribution plan will go after that. I mean, as Snap-on trucks, Cornwall trucks, Mack trucks, those are all franchisee trucks. So each one's allowed to carry certain tools on their trucks that aren't quote unquote Snap-on or Mack and stuff like that. So you're allowed to have those type of things on there, but it's more of like a consignment type thing, right? So you put on their truck, you can sell for an amount, they take a little portion of it and you get the rest. And that's not a bad option either. It's just, like I said, they were actually interested in buying it from me. And then I told them that's not okay.
So I know I actually I had a kind of follow-up question to Mark. I mean, on the more like direct to consumer pathway, I mean, what would it potentially look like to get these kinds of tools into like, a Lowe's or Home Depot? I mean, I'm just wondering, for me and my, I'm kind of with ski here where it's like, I wish I had one of these in my toolbox, but that's usually where I go to get it. I just feel like, is that conversations you think you might have with some of the big box stores as another way to get it to consumers?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm not going to shut the door to any option, right? I want it all out there just as, like I said, I want these tools in the hands of everybody who would use them the most, right? Because if it's just a certain amount of people, it's not helping everybody. And that's my goal is if it's going to be useful for me, I know it's going to be useful for somebody else type thing. And if we can get it in Home Depot and Lowe's and, the Sears and whatnot, I'd love it, man. It's more of getting it to that process. And that's kind of where I'm at, that next milestone.
And what I think the cool thing is, as I mentioned, Kevin posted just to a group, right? I mean, just a Facebook group out there, that's kind of business owners and entrepreneurs and people that are aspiring to, create and do their own things. And so I think that's a lot of the reservations that sometimes people have, right, is putting it out there, right, of, sharing their idea, fear of somebody taking it, fear of the judgment of whether it's a good idea or not, right? And so a lot of the times it's that critical step that can get you introduced to people that can help, right? So because it does take usually more than just yourself. We only know what we know, and I mean, I know I've had extremely influential people in my entrepreneurial journey that have helped me reach a milestone or a market strategy or something that I never even knew existed, right? So, or a channel or a path. And so I think that's where, funny enough, I saw the post. I'm savvy with tools and everything, but one of the people in our office at the Entrepreneurship Center was the vice president at Mack Tools. So I knew I had a little bit of insight to help him. So, that's where it's like reaching out to Kevin. So now Kevin's got that whole channel, distribution network, that experience. I mean, the gentleman, Robert is his name. He couldn't be here this morning, but he's going to meet with Kevin one-on-one. And he knows about every single private tool manufacturer out there. So where, Kevin will have those options to go and look at the manufacturers, talk to them, figure out the distribution strategy, whether this goes into, storefronts, whether it goes into the Mack Tools trucks, for distribution, working with the company like Stanley Black & Decker, who's the parent company of Mack Tools. And then not only that, and I see Christy join the call here. So there's a resource out there that the military has a basically database of patents that the military has, their individual research labs, the federal labs, the Navy labs, Army lab, Veterans lab, have all created technologies, right? So because they have extremely smart people inside the military that are out there solving problems for military problems, right? Or solutions for military problems. Well, that's just like a university. They research ideas, they come up with solutions, and then they go out and patent them. Well, just like schools have technology transfer offices, the military has technology transfer offices. So there's actually a patent out there that was developed by a lab inside the military that is directly applicable to Kevin's tool. So not only takes what he's got the base level, but enhances it, and now gives him one of those things that can take it from just a product idea to legitimately building, you know, a company around it, and then explore all those angles. So it just shows you like the power of sharing your idea, involving others, collaborating, and you know, the I think there's a big fear about sharing too soon, right? Which is you know, have the protection in place. So Kevin's got the patent, but the passion that Kevin shares for this isn't going to be the same as, you know, the person that sees it in, you know, Eric, George, or whatever. They're not going to go and pursue making their own wrench. And I think that's a lot of the times that we can't get out of that own trench in our own comfort zone to be like, oh my gosh, you know, everybody's going to steal this. And odds are, you know, there's not another single person out there that has the exact same experiences that, you know, we do as individuals. So to be able to jump and say, you know what, let's share it, let's go capture it and find resources to help you. That's the difference between keeping something in a small network and being able, as you can hear Kevin say now, you know, that the sky's the limit, right? So any weigh in or perspective from that, Jason?
I got a question. Yeah. So keeping on the theme of being scared to put that out there. So the patent is the patent good enough for, like, the first thing in my mind, because yeah, you know, taking your idea to public and worrying, right, is somebody going to take it, and yeah, I think a lot of us know that while other people might have our idea, they're not us, right? They're not going to be able to do it like we can. But there's a, like, when I heard that he sat down in front of Snap-on, I'm thinking, okay, they might have the power. So I guess my question is that patent good enough? Did he have any NDAs, or what else would you need to take an idea that is not, you know, all the way to fruition? You probably still need some capital, and then you sit in front of somebody that could probably do it without you. Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Absolutely, man. And that was one of the things I had to get over with. So when you go with Snap-on, they had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. We did go through that, and you know, I told him I did have the patent and the patent number, everything else. And it was, I had to get it out. And there's so many people saying you're doing it too soon and I was like, no, if I don't ask for help or try, it's never going to go anywhere. I have to get the people that have the right resources. I have to reach out beyond my means, right? I can build the wrench, but I don't know any much past that. I need other people's expertise, and that's where it came in. And I took the proper steps, and at least I think, right, there's gray areas where people are going to be snakes and try to steal things behind your back, but you can't help that. You're going to have that in every field. So it was more of get out of it, just try. And then, you know, that's what I put it on the internet. There's people that, you know, as Steve said, that were they were, you know, take it down, people are going to steal it, do that. Well, if they steal it, I guess that's just how it's going to be, type thing. Because if I don't ask for help and get it out there in front of people, and eventually somebody will see it and get in front of the right eyes, that's where I have to be.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Way to go.
Yeah, I'll tack on to that. If anybody throws a hand up, I'll stop talking. But I'll tack onto that to say, you know, companies that invest, or people that invest, they don't invest in the product. They invest in the team, the person, right? The brains behind it. You had the oofta to get out there and do it, man, right? So clearly anybody could have done it. You did it, right? So even if somebody does go and steal it, you know, they're not going to continue that journey like you are. And so then you're going to have competition, but competition is healthy, and it proves that there's a market for the thing that you're trying to do. So good on you, man, for getting out there. It is absolutely, like Steve said, and others have alluded to, it is absolutely a mindset that we're trying to help people get away from. You've got to share it. Yep, there's going to be those edge cases where somebody's going to do you dirty. It's going to happen. But the best thing you could do is, you know, try to follow the process, do what you've been doing, get those patents and NDAs and all of those, check those boxes, and You know, like you said, I agree with you 1,000%, Kevin. You gave me goosebumps, man. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Control what you can.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings is ideas are free, execution is key, right? So because I mean, I am sure, almost 100% positive, that you're not the first person to conceptualize a wrench in their head that fits every angle, right? But you executed on it. You burned up 2 3D printers to get there, right? And then, like you said, you reached out. You researched the heck out of stuff, find out what it takes to get a patent. Go through those motions, have the the kahunas to call up Snap-on and say, hey man, what do you think of this? Yeah, there's a chance that they could take it and everything. You know what though? The more numbers of zeros behind a company, I'm like, yeah, bring it on, because how fast they move inside that is nothing. It's slow in comparison to what an entrepreneur can move. So if the bigger companies out there, great. A story I'll share, not a particular company, but a story that I heard in the tool industry. So a new screwdriver handle at a big tool company, all right? Just a change in design of a screwdriver handle, something that seems so rudimentary, right? From conceptualization to product launch, 6 years. 6 years to introduce a new design of a screwdriver handle. So, for, someone like yourself, Kevin, that can take on the big tool companies or whatever, and it's like, oh my gosh, they'll steal it, they'll market it, they'll have it out, next week, right? That's the perception. The reality is there is so many layers in a large organization that has to go through approval, and somebody's got to sign off, and everybody inside that organization, usually what we see is the bureaucracy of nobody wants to put their name on the bottom line. When it comes down to signing for the, hey, this is my butt on the line. Oh crap! I can't back that. Like, no, that's a great thing. It's a great idea, but I can't back that. Like, I'll lose my job. Like, if it fails, right? And so the fear of failure in a large organization, is more intense, I think, than some of the fear of entrepreneurship, right? Because we've only got, usually 1 or 2 decision layers. Like, it's ourselves and then our spouses, and then maybe some of the employees, as you grow, right? So you can make a decision faster. You can do trial and error faster. There's less risk. You can, make a prototype, and you could, 3D print these things for the rest of your life, and, probably have a nice little lifestyle business. But getting past that and reaching out, to that contract manufacturer, getting it, at the end of the day, it's about building the company, building the brand around it. People are going to buy, just as George alluded to, they're going to buy from the people involved, right? So, they're going to buy around the brand that you built, and your distribution strategy and everything, you can be built, to be complementary to the marketplace, right? So it can go be sold in, Snap-on trucks, Mac tool trucks, can be sold in Lowe's. It can be sold direct to consumer. You can do the infomercial with the crazy routine if you want, right? That's the beauty of it, is you've got the ability to go out and do a bunch of it. And so that fear sometimes is, the fear of moving. Ever walk down a bread aisle? Tell me how many types of bread there are. They all use wheat, flour, water, and an oven, right?
Absolutely.
But each one, people attach themselves to Sara Lee or to Schwabel's or to, the Giant Eagle brand or the Kroger brand, and they all sell. So now the margins might not be as good, depending on what you have to do. But at the same time, it's building that brand, building that awareness around a company. And that's really that's where, as we alluded to in the beginning, the ideas and the uniqueness of the different industries and everything kind of goes out the window when you look at the whole entrepreneur journey. There's no one key to success, but there is somewhat of a formula to build a company, build a brand, and that then you plug in the idea. So. But yeah, so sorry, a little soapbox there. But,
I love it.
It's awesome to see the journey on this platform of the different entrepreneurs and all the different stages of it. So, and you're right in the thick of it, and that's what's really relative for an audience, to hear, is that infancy, right? That you're making these decisions every single day right now. So yeah, I'll turn the floor back over to you for just insight and advice to people. So I mean, you probably don't consider yourself like an expert in entrepreneurship, but I'm telling you, man, the stuff you've been able to execute on and do, that you've risen to a different bar. So
I mean, I guess when it comes down to it, it's one foot in front of the other, right? You have to keep moving forward. And that's kind of my mentality when it came to this, is one foot in front of the other. Everybody, like you said, can have an idea. That's great. That's a great idea. But it's the execution, as you said, and it's more of putting that idea to paper and getting everything done. That was my main focus. And, like I said, 4 years ago, sitting at the kitchen table, tracing a wrench and different angles and how it will work. And that's where it all started. And it's just progressed throughout the line. And now it's at that mentality is you don't stop, you just keep going. I mean, there's got to be a way out there, and there's got to be a way to get it out in the open and get this in people's hands. And that's the real direction and my drive for this, because I know the struggles of being a mechanic and having to change things and being out in the field, and that $80 fucking snap-on wrench that you just had, you have to heat up and bend. And now you have to replace that snap-on wrench because, it's bent. There's so much frustration of it. And that was really my driving point. It's a lot of my wife always complained about tool bills. And I said, well, we can take a little bit off it. There's still always going to be some, but this will help the next person in line.
Sorry, I got loud noises here. They're replacing, doing some work here. But other questions from people about whether it's Kevin's journey or just entrepreneurship questions. Feel free to chime in here.
What do you want to see when it's all said and done? Like, what do you want out of the business, the perfect angle wrench?
I just, honestly, man, I want to see it out there. I want to see it in people's hands. And, just the knowing the fact that I created something, right? That's kind of my mentality. It's everybody says you can look for money. And that's one thing every entrepreneur looks for. But I'm more of, I want to see it in people's hands, using it, making their lives easier instead of having to go through the same struggle that I went through day in and day out, like I said, modifying things. That was my biggest thing. So as far as the business, like, sky's the limit, man. I will take it to wherever it can go. I don't want to put any stipulations on it. I don't want to put any expectations on it. But at the end of the day, I mean, if I could get this into the hands of people that need it, it makes me happy because it's making their life easier.
I've got a word of advice. Take it or leave it. But everybody's got a number, right? Whatever your number is, this your first time, in this journey where you built a thing and you could potentially be selling it?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Whatever that number is, ignore the gut. Don't sell. Keep it. Wait for the second or third number to come in.
Gotcha.
That's my advice. And lawyer up tight.
I'm going with it, man. I love it.
George has been through it, a successful exit, from a company. And just like anything, right? The first time we do something, there's lessons learned. So, heed that advice. I mean, seek out those. A lot of times, there's the rule out there, or the theory, which I think is, obviously real, is that we are the average of the 5 people that we associate the most with. Right. And so it's just like, if you pour 100-degree water in and 50-degree water, it's going to leverage out and average to, the middle spot. Right. And so we do the same thing with people. So seek out those that aren't to the side of you, but those are ahead of you. Right. Whether it's industry, whether it's experience and leadership or everything. And don't be afraid to reach out. Like, I mean, I think in this connected era, in this world, there are so many people that we have access to that, weren't there before. I mean, I remember a book growing up as a kid of the celebrities that you could write a letter to. Well, now, I mean, you can go DM them on their Instagram account or Twitter account, and maybe they don't respond, but at the same time, maybe they do. right? And those are the types of things that can change, whether it's celebrities, whether it's leaders. And I think, from here, Kevin, one thing that I think is really powerful that took me, people telling me in my ear for probably about a decade, is to share the story. People love seeing and being part of a build of something, right? So go out and get the social media account, take a picture of like the patent, document that comes in the mail or whatever, with the wrench by the side. And like, I mean, those are the things that's authentic, right? I mean, so I think a lot of times we're like, oh man, I don't want to like brag or boast, and it's not really bragging. It's just sharing the story. Like, I mean, this is something to be proud of, right?
Absolutely.
And then the first time you meet at an office of a large tool manufacturer, right? That selfie outside, like, hey, we're here today at XYZ company, going to chat with them about the perfect angle wrench. That's the stuff that one is not only going to build an audience, but it's going to get that intimacy with an audience that will be able to use to leverage yourself against the Mac tools of the world if they don't sign with you or use it or whatever. Like that's what's cool, right? And people root for the little guy. So the more that you're out there sharing that story, talking about the little guy, talking about the entrepreneur journey, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of times that we feel in this that like, oh, I'm not worthy of that yet, or I'm not as successful as so and so I can't. How can I be an expert? How can I share what I'm doing? But at the same time, just as many people as there are above you, there's same people in the exact same shoes that you are, and the same that are like dreaming to be in those shoes, right? And so being able to pass that along, and with each one teach one, those type of mentalities, that's what makes this journey super cool. And that's what makes honestly this platform of being able to share these and interact. I mean, I learned so much from other entrepreneurs. I mean, I learned stuff from those above me, to the side of me, below me. Well, I don't hate using that term, below me, sorry, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, the people that are in different stages of their journey, be a student, right? And that's what's so awesome. So I mean, again, kudos. I mean, I've acquired my patents, right? So I didn't develop them. So I've been able to leverage, the patents that of other amazing minds have created, and then utilize those in our company. You've gone out there and actually done it, filed with the U.S. Patent Office, gotten the attorney and everything. I mean, that's something that I've never done. So that's incredible. And so celebrate the wins and the victories along the way. But then keep reaching for the stars, man. So it's going to be an exciting journey, and keep up with us, So I know you and I will be in touch, but we'll come back in 6 months and look at this and do a refresh, as we call it, and see where you're at, right? And being able to share that story.
Absolutely, man. It's not going to stop. I promise you. We'll be in touch nonstop, and it will get out there. It's not a matter of if, it's more of when is when it's going to be. It's when.
All right. Any other final comments before we ask our last question of the community?
I love your attitude, Kevin.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, man.
All right.
Well, the last
George,
last question we ask all of our presenters is, what can we as a community do for you?
Connections, right? Obviously there's a lot of support here. I can feel it already. There's obviously a lot of people who's got the same mindset, the same driven passion, right? It might not be in the same area, but they all have a different entrepreneur mindset. And what I lack is what other people have. And that goes vice versa. And so really is more of anything is, if you have an idea, if you have a connection, if you have somebody that you think could help me out on this journey, absolutely send it this way. I mean, it's more than grateful. It's just something that would be tremendous to this, and it really helped me out on this.
Will do, definitely, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
All
buddy.
right, Steve, take us home.
Yeah. So no, Kevin, awesome chat today. Awesome hearing, from the conception, and I mean, and literally, I mean, we're strangers. I feel like we're friends. I mean, that's the thing that can happen out there, right? When you put yourself out there and everything. I mean, we had a couple conversations with stuff, and it's like, I mean, there's no ask or anything, from me, or anybody in the community. I mean, people love helping people, build things and seeing people succeed, right? So that's what's cool. So I encourage you, to keep doing that, keep again sharing that journey that you're on, because you're not only going to help yourself, you're going to help a lot of other people out there. And if just one person decides to make the jump, go research, what a patent takes, and pursues their own thing, even if it never becomes a company, just the fact that they take that step, that's the growth mindset, right? That's where growth happens. And you never know what that next, risk that you're taking could lead to. Right. So everybody, thank you very much for joining us live here on the Zoom call. Thank you, Facebook world, for those that are watching out there. I encourage you to connect with Kevin, so that you can watch his journey. So I'm sure there's going to be stuff out there on social media now. He'll get the handles, if you will, and we can watch and follow the journey of the Perfect Angle Wrench. So, and for those of you that have your own ideas that want to come share with the community, it's perfect time to do it virtually. You can come in, go to 1millioncups.com /present. You can apply there, and we can bring you here in Columbus, Ohio. But then the beauty of this is, Kevin's in Colorado, so we'll let him get introduced to the communities out in Colorado and connect with the local ecosystem builders out in Colorado and across the country. So that's the beauty of the platform. So every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern, right here in Columbus, Ohio, and across all of 1MC Nation. We appreciate you joining us, and we will see you next week. Everybody have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks, guys.